Games industry bubble from Laura Freyer.
Secret, the games industry is struggling. Millions of dollars have been lost and thousands of layoffs have occurred. Even games with mild success will not make their money back. One would think that these failures would create a moment of crisis, a moment of self-reflection in the industry.
No, they're going to double down. I guarantee it. They'll let it crash and burn before they admit they're wrong.
Studios would realize that instead of lecturing gamers about what they should want, they would listen and understand their fans. You know, the people who want to be entertained, who want to pay to play their games.
They think that they're troubled artists who everyone hates, but maybe later, everyone will love them, and that is not the case. When their side wins, they think, and it ain't looking like it.
So how did we get here? Why is it so difficult for the feedback to get through? Why aren't studios listening? Well, the problem is that over the years, they've created a bubble. And unless they turn things around and step into the light, things are only going to get worse. Let's talk about how this happened.
Oh, I'm so here for it. I hope it gets worse. That would be so good. I don't know what my audio just did. It did a weird thing. I might have to do something to fix that. Probably went zzz.
When I first started in games, you made a game, got ready to ship, and then you talked about it at E3. You let people play, and sometimes you even had gamers at E3. It felt like a fun geek fest with friends. As games became more mainstream and made more money, things started to change. The press became more powerful, and reporters that wanted to increase their audience might do so by creating breaking news about your game. Sometimes that was really good, and the game developer would score a magazine cover, they'd get more sales and a lot more attention. Sometimes it wasn't so good, because a lot of game developers weren't great at selling their games.
I think I just realized who this is. I think I've seen her shorts. Not seen her shorts. Seen her YouTube shorts. She played with a little kid and was like, to guess my age, she's like 60 years old playing Call of Duty or some shit.
We're just great at making them. They might say something wrong about the game, or maybe a reporter would misunderstand. This could end up costing the game developer shelf space, sales, and sometimes their job.
Noise in their makeshift trailer park across the street from E3.
I think it's more honest. Like, we don't have to put on a big show. Our big show is our technology.
Naturally, what happened was the game developers and publishers started to evolve out of self-interest. They needed to protect their investment, so they would set their message and their narrative very specifically before they went to E3. The last thing they wanted was for a reporter to misunderstand and print something that would hurt the game. Now, instead of game developers working 8-hour shifts on the show floor discussing their games, companies moved to designated spokespeople and had secondary people manning the booth. Many companies staffed their floor with beautiful contractors that couldn't answer any in-depth questions.
Aloha! Welcome to the Maxim Video Game Quiz.
This worked really well. Instead of having...
I remembered that clip. Oh man, I'm getting old.
Kind of a grumpy developer that had
she is too,
to get
but
their E3
man,
demo done. You had beautiful, bubbly
feel sorry for her. She's been older longer.
People, and they would set a great first impression of your game.
Oh my god, I know this one too.
The green guy.
Giovanni? No.
The turtle.
Fabio? No. Leonardo?
An added benefit was that no reporter in their right mind would quote one of these people as some kind of expert on the game, so it took away that risk. If a journalist wanted an in-depth interview or wanted specific questions about the game answered, then they were directed to a PR spokesperson, and these people were trained. They were intimately familiar with the game, and generally, they didn't say anything stupid.
And fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't,
well,
like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
Oof.
This also...
Oof. Oh, man, I remember that. That one hurt me. That was so long ago when the Xbox One was releasing, and they tried to be like, well, yeah, gotta always be online. Yeah.
really worked to increase the star power of game creators. People like stories about another person, right? It's hard to tell a story about the 150 people working on the game. It's just too much for people to keep track of. They want to hear about the star. Who is the co-creator of Halo? Who is Jason Jones? That is what they wanted to hear. These spokespeople became famous, and often the press became their friends. It's natural for friendships to develop over time, and it helps in interviews if people know each other.
It's great to see you again.
It's good to see you as well.
It's good to
People
see
have been
this
waiting
still
for us to
going.
get back together, and now is
And
the
I
appropriate venue.
do always enjoy it where you make up features and ask me if they're actually real.
Exactly. And then you go back and build them, right? No.
Sometimes yes. Sometimes yes. We get the pressure to do that.
Yes.
This created a star power on the interface too. Suddenly, you weren't just a journalist. You weren't just a buyer for GameStop.
I very much dislike Todd Howard. He is such a liar, man. I've multiple times throughout the years with Starfield, Fallout 76, Fallout 4 ruined me, and then stabbed my friends who made New Vegas in the back. Now New Vegas is falling apart, or not New Vegas. Obsidian is falling apart. Is it Obsidian? Yes. They're making Avowed. Yeah, fuck that company.
You were friends with some of the most famous and powerful people in the games industry. If you played your cards right, maybe you'd get exclusive interviews or get to break stories after drinks one night. And the escalation continued. It became normal.
We're never getting Silk Song. That's not happening, ever. I'm just... Even if they announce it like, hey, it's coming, something will happen. It's just destined to never be a thing.
To wine and dine the press and retail buyers. Since games were on physical media, you had to have shelf space, and even better, cross-promotion with major stores. It was big business. Companies had to manage hundreds of these people at E3. So Xbox had a handler for every major press person and retail buyer. The handler would make sure that the experience for these people was top-notch. For press, it was a PR person. In the Xbox case, they had internal PR and an army of contract PR people from a company called Edelman. They were beautiful, smart, and funny people. For the retail buyers, it was easy because Microsoft already had someone internally that managed every account, and so those people would be the guides for the retail buyers.
We got 400 retail pros ready to hang out in the Xbox booth and learn why Xbox One is the best place to play games this year. Where's the best place to play games?
Steam! Well, now it's not, but at that time it was. Now I think it's GOG.
If you were a VIP, you would check in for an appointment at the desk and have a first-class tour, access to a VIP section where you could eat, drink, and mingle with Xbox and game royalty. On the tour, you might see a presentation by one of the creators followed by a hands-on demo, staffed appropriately so that your experience was perfect. This sometimes meant that they would even win when they weren't very good at the game.
You actually went through 3 hurdles and you still finished first. So that's because I run so fast. No matter how many obstacles I hit, I can just make up for it. That's fun.
It's pretty phenomenal.
If the game was big enough, like Gears, there might be an exclusive part.
Kinect was cool for like the first 2 days that I had it, because we just tried. It was fun because we tried out all the different Kinect games that we could try, and then we realized that it was all slop, just like the iToy games were. It was literally just like iToy, except, oh, that's cool, you could see your avatar in the game, but it didn't really make a difference.
Party or event. It was also staffed with beautiful people, models, and sometimes even celebrities like Paris Hilton. I remember Paris showing up at the event. She walked over to the bar and slammed a few shots. Next thing I knew, Cliffy's girlfriend was posing for a selfie, and there I was looking like, I don't know, where's Waldo in this picture? It was funny because when Cliffy's girlfriend posted this picture, she made sure to scrub me out of there. I wonder why. Then there were the press briefings before E3 even started. We'd spend weeks leading up to E3 figuring out which games to include and how to create blockbuster sound bites that would further drive our message.
I know you plan these things months and months in advance. For anybody that doesn't know, like planning for this starts like the beginning of the year kind of thing.
That's right.
It's crazy. So
We didn't want a random reporter setting the tone for the entire week, so we got ahead of it. We set the tone at that briefing and then gave more details later in the week. And it worked. Sometimes reporters would just report your message exactly, like this article which mirrored our internal XNA messaging. We knew that it was insanely ambitious to assume creating a game engine like XNA was going to somehow change the entire dynamics of the console business. But reporters liked it, and they ran with it. And this still happens. As you saw with Dragon Age, a return to form is exactly what the designer wanted the press to say. Managing the message was...
Return to what form? What form was it supposed to return to? The pre-alpha of Dragon Age Origins? Because I even think that was probably better than what we ended up with.
Critical to a studio's success and was done for survival purposes. But it sadly started to hurt gamers. You now had an industry that was in a bubble. As the friendships and relationships grew, only journalists in the bubble were given exclusives, and sometimes their review didn't match what was going on. Again, you saw this recently with Veilguard. IGN is walking back their review. Did IGN actually believe Veilguard was a 9 out of 10, or did they intentionally ignore the flaws? Did they play the game? Did they like
Somebody played it, but whoever was in charge of reviewing it was like, we got to do it for the agenda. Because I love the agenda so much.
the game, but then after they got into it more, they decided they didn't like it anymore? It's just confusing as to why it appears they're walking back that review. Is it because suddenly they're seeing that gamers don't like it and the sales are going to be low? I don't know the answers, but it's not a news story. Then there were the awards at the show.
The people who only care about money are definitely going to be getting rid of stuff like that, but the people who are in it for the agenda and don't care if they destroy everything around them to achieve their goals, they're going to double down, triple down, and quadruple down.
Shows. For game developers, it was a way to keep score, to get more marketing and support for your game. It was a way to gain more shelf space at retail. Look, an expert loves my game. See, IGN says I'm a 9 out of 10. Please give me more shelf space. This created even more power for the journalists because they had a chance to create their own brand and suck up to the bigger business of Hollywood. Then YouTube took off and
Hollywood ain't that big of a business anymore. It is slowly losing steam. We got people in Hollywood moving the fuck out.
To bring the whole thing down, because suddenly you didn't have to listen to a print magazine. You could just go watch the game being played online and hear what that person had to say about it. It took a while, but the industry started to notice. I remember being at WB Games and arguing with our PR team about this. Being a Hollywood company, they loved the current setup. They had been cultivating these relationships for years. They knew and loved the model. They didn't want to embrace the new reality. On Gotham City Imposters, we wanted a presence on YouTube, so we made the videos ourselves. All of these videos were done by the actual game developers. They didn't have a budget or help, just their own creativity and time. Once the big companies caught on that YouTube and streaming was here to stay, they started the process again. The playbook was the same. Cultivate a relationship with the most popular streamers and YouTube personalities that love your game and pull them into the bubble. But then, something changed. You see, when you're in a bubble...
The Fire Nation attacked.
...or an echo chamber where no real feedback gets through, it's easy to make bad choices. It's easy to believe the friendly journalists when they tell you what a genius you are and how great your game is.
On the score, yeah, we do mock reviews for every game that we launch, and this is like double digits lower than we thought we would be.
You stop seeing what the gamers are actually playing. You stop understanding what they want. You stop listening because all you hear is how awesome you are. Let's look at
Yep. Fart sniffers. Every one of them.
Dragon Age. It took over 6 years to make that game. And that is very expensive even before you start talking about the marketing. This means you're going to have to sell a lot of copies, and that means you're going to have to...
They need to dumb down games so badly. Why is it taking 6 years to develop something that's just going to fail like that? And like, how did they not know? How did they miss so bad? It's like they just hired a bunch of people that they knew would run with their DEI policies, and they were like, just make it good. Put a chick in it and make it gay. Everybody loves that. Easy money. Easy money. I see it online all the time. It's everywhere. Everybody loves it. But really, you're just getting a bunch of people that are in your algorithm that like you and like the same things that you like. And you're not seeing real people. And the people who like all of this stuff don't actually play these kinds of games. They play normal games. If they even play any games.
People as possible. Look, shipping a game is really hard, and I give these developers a lot of credit for getting it out the door. There's no question that some people like the game, and that's great, but it's looking like it won't be enough, and I have concerns this will lead to more layoffs. Also, as a gamer, I have no problem with game developers taking risks with their content. Who doesn't love innovation? But that doesn't mean I'll buy your game. There are many games I like and many that I don't. This is true of movies too. And that's the beauty and the
But if you don't buy it, then you're a racist bigot.
Challenge of working in the games industry. Sometimes you will make something that you think is good and people don't love it. I was proud of every single game I shipped, but not all of them had commercial success, and it was frustrating. But I didn't blame the gamers for that.
I disagree with this take where you're just like, I'm proud of everything that I worked on. No, be proud of the work that you put into it. You don't have to be proud of the thing that came out, because if what came out was garbage, you need to recognize that it was garbage so you stop getting involved with garbage. Oh.
Instead, I tried to look back. I tried to self-reflect. What did we do well on this game? What could we have done better? Why didn't this work out? And as the leader of a studio or a game, I always looked at myself first.
War in the North was also a commercial failure, a fact that many critics attributed to the timing of its release, being released only 10 days before the juggernaut of fantasy gaming, Skyrim.
Gaming is entertainment.
Yeah, go ahead, blame it on the other game. Blame it on the other game. No, if your game was good enough, then it wouldn't have mattered. And what are you doing releasing your game a week before? Push it back a little bit. Everybody does it.
People aren't forced to buy your message or your game. Holding back user reviews for a few days only buys you a few days. Eventually, the truth comes out. Eventually, people notice that you aren't delivering fun games, and they stop giving you money.
Everybody knows it's over! Everybody except you!
When people ask me why AAA games are in trouble, this is it. Because they're not reflecting on what they could do better. Instead, they're attacking the people that they want to sell their games to. It is not a winning strategy. It reminds me of Plato's allegory of the cave. It's where people only see what is on the wall in front of them. They don't see that there is a fire behind them and puppets that are creating the images that they see on the wall. What they're seeing isn't real. And if only they would turn around and walk into the light, they would know the truth. They would be able to change. It's hard, but fortunately, they made the cave. They made the fake reality. They can turn around at any time. And I, for one, hope they do, because I really want more great games.
It hurts. And that video hurt me because I feel so bad for like actually good game developers. But if they end up getting laid off, they're just gonna get swallowed up by the good game developers, the good big game developers, and I'm here for that. I can get on board with that. So here's for these games tripling down and failing even harder. I like that video. I've seen part of that somewhere. I might have watched this whole video before. If I did, then I added some more context to it, I guess. I don't think I did. Maybe it was a clip from Asmongold. That seems right.